Why would you want to partner with a growth desk versus any other solution to profitably and reliably scale your coaching, consulting, or agency business? And I am so passionate about this solution specifically that we're just going to break down every solution in front of you because I have done all the other solutions and I wish this growth desk offer was there when I was starting out. So if you are an existing coach, consultant, or agency and you have an offer that's validated, that's doing at least $25,000 a month, your goal outcomes are likely to grow and scale to your goal revenue and profits without crushing profitability, client results, or your reputation, your existing team if there is one, or your personal sanity. And if you're smart, which I'm assuming you are because you're watching this video, but you're likely willing to pay for speed to skip the years and multiple 6 to 7 figures in mistakes that most people make. And I have been willing to pay for speed my entire career in growing offers and building an online business. But unfortunately, I paid for a lot of stuff that didn't pan out. I'm not going to go exactly which programs and coaching programs and all these things I paid for, but I want to talk the 3 routes in front of you, which is to work with a traditional agency, some sort of done for you agency to grow your business where you're at, paying a coach, consultant, or some sort of mastermind program, or DIY, doing it yourself, or building a traditional, large team. First, let's talk about working with a traditional agency. This could be for marketing, for ads, for YouTube, for VSLs, funnel, growing on LinkedIn. There's any number of services out there depending on what your current bottleneck is and what solutions you're looking for in the marketplace. Now, personally, after spending $50,000 for these types of programs, some of these are disguised as done for you offers, but they're actually done with you offers. But if they are actually done for you, whether they're going to manage your ad account or whatever it may be, in my personal experience, these people, they're never close enough to your offer, your business, and your team. This is because they are onboarding and signing a ton of clients. They are building a massive team. They're building a massive agency. They have a ton of clients that they're dealing with, which means they're not close enough to your offer, your business, or your team to really have those breakthroughs that are required. If you watch my case study video on the front end marketing and advertising, or you've watched any of Diego's case studies of how close to this we need to be to actually have these breakthroughs to grow your business, every time I've worked with one of these people, they, like, for example, people that say, hey, we're going to write your ads in 14 days and you'll get a winning ad script. They don't work with me very closely, and some virtual assistant wrote me an ad. I'm like, this would never work for my ideal demographic. I thought you guys had really skilled copywriters, etc. And that just goes through so many of these solutions, is that ultimately unskilled virtual assistants are following SOPs or getting passed off to junior account managers. A lot of times on these done for you, you want to work with the expert or you want to work with the expert team, but you don't actually get that access. You have unskilled virtual assistants doing a ton of the fulfillment, whether it's somebody being paid $1,000 a month to look over 25 ad accounts, or sometimes even more. That can be the case. So they have a high volume of clients with a churn and burn model, no performance-based incentives, typically just retention. So it's a setup fee, or it's just a monthly fee, or it's a $2,000 a month type thing. You're like, oh, wow, I can't believe I'm going to get all this for $2,000 a month. That stuff is very, very common. And the result is you get a solution, and I'm going to reference, ads, funnels, or a marketing system that is half baked and nowhere near what is required to actually get you the results that move the needle in your business. I'm going to really specifically focus on actually moving the needle in the business, because there's a lot of stuff that, well, maybe that could help, or maybe that would help. But what we're really focused here is actually growing our business and having the breakthroughs that is going to help scale our revenue and profits while removing us from so much of the chaos. Or we're not trying to get 5% or 10% wins. We are trying to meaningfully grow the business and do what's required to actually scale profitably. And ultimately, what I have found is you can spend months going backwards when you could actually do a better job DIY. Because a lot of times when you pass off some of this to somebody that's like a virtual assistant or something, that either stays stagnant or it just stays at maintenance, or it actually regresses and performs worse. So in my experience, if you are actually trying to grow your offer, working with a traditional agency or some sort of limited done for you solution that's just on a micro compartmentalized part of your business, like just managing your ad account, it's likely going to keep you stalled for a long time and actually regress the business rather than move it forward. Another one is paying for a coach, consultant, or mastermind program. And don't get me wrong, these can be great depending on what you want out of it. I've paid for a lot of programs, and I've even paid for what I thought was a one-to-one program, $40,000, all paid up front. and get into that in just a bit about what actually occurred on that. And as I'm framing, joining a coaching program, I'm specifically talking about for the vessel of growing our business and being willing to pay for speed, to make more revenue, to scale, to without making all these mistakes. You're willing to pay for speed. I'm not saying coaching consulting doesn't work for thousands of types of offers, because of course it does. I'm specifically talking about trying to scale your coaching, consulting, or agency offer, and you're willing to pay for speed to get ahead, avoid mistakes, etc. So if you pay for a DIY or done with you, typically you're going to get access to a group, a course, a community. There's going to be CSMs. You're going to have very little access to the expert. At the very most, you might get a group call that has 50 to 100 people in there, and you might not even get to answer your question. I've been in these group calls where I'm waiting 2 hours, and then I could ask one question, it gets answered for like 5 minutes, and they're like, okay. And once again, with how involved you need to be to make big breakthroughs in the business, I just don't see this as an effective model if you're actually looking to pay to get ahead or partner with somebody to get ahead. There's also one-to-one. And like I said, for the longest time, I would just keep saying to myself, I'm willing to pay for speed. I'm willing to pay for things I don't know. And that's great for developing your skills and getting yourself educated. But at one point, like I said, I paid $40,000 because this person had so many different offers. I was like, I want one-to-one access to the expert to actually be directly involved in my business and actively close, and we're working on together and we're working to scale our business. And I said, I will pay this $40,000. And at the end of the day, it was course, group, an inner circle call where there'd be 20 people in the call instead of 100. And then my question about really in the trenches, we're at 100K a month. We're trying to get to 250K a month. And maybe spend 10 minutes on my question, and then I only get one of those a week. Or maybe I get one-on-one call 1 or 2 times a month. But for the context of growing your business, trying to scale it, I just don't believe that necessarily these coaching offers, coaches offers, is the right solution for having these massive breakthroughs. Again, if you want to grow your business and you want to pay for speed, you want to avoid all these mistakes. I've spent $40,000 on one offer, $25,000 on one offer, $20,000 on another offer, and I've just been searching for, I want the expert integrated in my business and really looking closely at the numbers, at the ads, at this, at that. And ultimately, it's been extremely difficult for me to get that and receive that. And it's for the context of trying to grow your business, that what ends up typically happening is you pay for speed, but find yourself in a massive coaching program or a limited one-to-one with tons of homework, no specificity around your exact offer. And typically you might appreciate what's going on and you might get value out of it, but it's not exactly what you wanted to help grow your business. There's tons of course material and there's these group calls, and I keep harping on this, but in order to actually move mountains in your offer, you might underestimate how close these people need to be to make a big difference. Going over your exact ideal customer profile, your exact situation, your exact numbers, what's going on in your exact team, what your exact offers are, your exact ads, your marketing, your funnels, your landing pages, your conversion rates. So much is required to be fully integrated to actually make, move mountains in your offer. And from what I've seen and paying for these coaching programs and coaches coaching coaches, you just don't get what you're looking for. And the next is DIY or build a traditional team. My biggest issues with DIY and building a traditional team is that the biggest lever movers in your growth and profit to actually grow your business typically lies in, of course, the front end and the back end. On the front end, we're talking about marketing, ads, funnels, sales, the whole marketing engine, the whole marketing system. Back end operations, which it's extremely hard to find back-end operators, on the right onboarding systems, the right fulfillment structure, the right client success tracking, building the proper offer ladder, the right SOPs, building that full back-end 7-figure engine that's actually going to enable you to grow profitably without growing the business, or without breaking the business, I should say. When we're looking for these people that can make big moves in these core areas, proper talent acquisition is extremely difficult to acquire with people who can actually progress the business and are sitting above you. They are experts above you in these categories. They're actually going to come into your business and install systems, install an engine, and bring you to the next level finding this talent is extremely difficult. And even if you're just trying to pass off something like, hey, if I just have to manage my ads or do this stuff, and you're looking on like Upwork or Fiverr, you're not going to find an operator that is actually going to be able to move on his own and install systems and make a big difference in the business and have these breakthroughs and write the copy and get the actors. And these people are not business owners, and they're not going to have a huge stake or obsession in your business. And once again, getting a team for certain parts is very, very important. And we have team members that we recommend you hire and have in the business. But I'm specifically talking about, you're saying, I'm willing to pay for speed. I want to skip the years of mistakes. I want to grow reliably and profitably. And say you're at $25,000 a month and you want to get to $100,000 a month. Well, to hire somebody in-house that's going to be able to get you there, extremely difficult to find somebody with the context and with the experience, people that have done that. If you do find somebody in the online coaching, consulting, or agency space that has done that and will actually work just for you inside of your business, that's going to be a multiple six-figure hire. And what could you do with multiple six figures? Well, we'll get into that, but to find an actual needle mover that has been there, that has done that has scaled offers and will work for you exclusively, it's going to be just extremely difficult to find. And I have built a massive team before, and I've had a marketing department, I've had a client success department, I've had a sales department, I've had sales managers, client success managers, I've had virtual assistants, data managers, and all of that to try and get leverage so I can go further faster. But ultimately, when you build these people that aren't huge needle movers, you're actually spending more time managing, building SOPs, and maybe they can maintain the engine, but actually advancing the engine and helping you, hey, you shouldn't structure your client success fulfillment process like this, or hey, your offer ladders are like this, or hey, your marketing and advertising. And finding people that are able to have that level of insight directly in the trenches of your business to advance it in-house, very, very challenging. And anyone that you bring into your business will maintain it or default to your level of knowledge. You have to train them. You have to educate them. You are the one that is actually pushing their advancement of knowledge. So they're capped. You are the bottleneck. You are the bottleneck, essentially. And even though you built this team to try and remove you are ultimately the bottleneck, typically when hiring this specifically under the lens of coaching, consulting, and agency offers, growing reliably, profitably, and hitting the numbers that you want. And because you haven't properly scaled or grown an offer to multiple six figures a month, to seven figures a month, I'm not saying that's everybody's goals. Your goals are going to be very different, but because you haven't been where you want to go, you're going to run into massive bottlenecks at every stage that could have easily been avoided by high-end operators that have been there and have done that and have been so close to the engine and built the engine and ran the engine. So because of that, once again, you are going to be the bottleneck at each stage. No one in your business is going to design and create the systems and infrastructure required to escape those bottlenecks because they're just there for a job. So we find the result is you wanted to hire and build a team to give you more leverage and more time, but typically you can just build a giant hamster wheel that crushes profit while lowering client results and making you busier than ever. You hire talent that is good enough that you yourself will need to train, manage, create SOPs for, check in on, everything along those lines. But if you aren't already an A+ expert in these areas, you're only bringing in people with less knowledge than you. You have to bring them up. And once again, they're going to be capped at your level of knowledge. And what can happen here is you hire a team, but because they aren't expert level needle movers, you think, oh, well, I just need to hire more, build a bigger team, crush the profits even more, when the opposite is actually true. You actually need to get a better engine and a better needle movers into your team. But like I said, you can't really get it from a traditional agency. You can't really get it from a coaching offer. It's extremely difficult to do it by building a traditional team, but you know what you can do is partner with a growth desk, because a growth desk is elite A+ talent consisting of entrepreneurs and high-end in-the-trench operators only focused on their zone of genius. Diego's zone of genius is designing and building profitable, scalable back-end systems that bring more revenue and profit into the business while increasing client success and ultimately getting you exactly where you want to be on the back end, where you're not in this hamster wheel. My zone of genius on the front end is designing the marketing engine, the ads, the copywriting, getting my editing team to actually produce the ads, working in the ad accounts, working on the marketing engine, the organic remarketing content system, the paid ads remarketing content system, increasing our upfront cash collected while reducing our cost per acquisition, increasing our show rates, increasing our close rates, bringing more qualified appointments in. That's my zone of genius. And I only want to do that. And by being a part of a growth desk, that's all that I have to do. So every single day is just amazing for me. It's the same thing for Diego. Another benefit is they only work with an extremely limited number of partners at a time to ensure they can deliver the results required and scale up the deals they're actively on. This is not a churn and burn offer. We're honestly acquiring 10 to 20 key partners at any given time, maybe even less. We just want to work with people that we genuinely love working with. We can operate in our zone of genius, deliver incredible results for these people by being embedded in the trench operators. What this means is none of our work is outsourced to junior account managers, client success managers, or virtual assistants, or you have to go through a big course, or there's a big community element. You are working one-to-one with the people in the growth desk. So you see me, you will be working with me on marketing ads. I will be working done for you, building the ads, writing the ads, figuring out what type of content we have to repurpose, the offer, all of that. These growth desk operators operate off of a flat plus rev share model, so they don't need 100 plus clients to make a ton of money and profit. We work with 10 to 20 partners or even fewer at a time to scale those partners vertically through increased revenue and profit rather than horizontally with hundreds of clients and a watered down solution. Because no matter what a done for you offer might say, if they are servicing hundreds of clients, they have to provide a watered down solution that can't go deep, that is just very shallow in order to deliver results to that many people or provide a limited solution to that many people. That's why the growth desk model, I love it so much. And I think it's perfect for people trying to get where they want to go in their offers, because we keep it limited on purpose so that we can go with extreme depth rather than wide breadth, but a puddle deep on the solution. This means that they can directly integrate with, replace, or fill seats in your current team, allowing you complete flexibility in the integration plan. So if you have marketers, if you have media buyers, we can integrate directly with those, or we can work with them. If you have client success managers, or if you don't, we can integrate with them on the back end. This is a full integration offer. The flat and rev share also isn't as massive as you think, depending on what type of offer you have and where you're at in business. Typically, the rev share we're on is 5 to 15% as we're currently operating. If you have a lower end offer, but you have proof of results and you want us to scale it up, say you're under $25,000 a month, we can get to work for you, but we really have to believe in the offer, and we are going to require more than 5 to 15% just because we're more so taking a risk on this deal. The only caveat is, while all of this sounds amazing, we only work with people and offers we really believe in. Partnerships slots are limited throughout the year, and finding a real growth desk can be very challenging since often we aren't advertising public. If you're seeing our application and our offers are up and our partnerships are up right now, that's likely for a limited time because we are only working with a few number of people that we really want to work with. And then our public advertising, everything will get shut off, and we will just be working with the partners in our growth desk. Finding other people that can provide you with the solution is very, very rare. You might find like some sort of quote unquote growth operator that's never done all this, but that's going to come in. It's very rare to find an expert team that's able to get directly integrated in the trenches of your business without having to hire it yourself. And you can't get it through done for you agencies. You can't get it through coaches. So with all of that out the way, I hope that helps you understand more about the growth desk model, how it compares to other models, and why we want to partner with you directly on a one-to-one basis if you qualify, and help grow and scale up your offer. And me and Diego and the growth desk being directly involved in the trenches help get you from where you are now to where you want to go. Because what I won't accept is being a part of a deal where I can't make mountains move, where I know we aren't going to make an impact and actually move the needle. And I don't want to be a part of deals where I'm just managing in this little ad account. We need to be fully integrated across everything front and back to ensure that on the front end, we're acquiring clients profitably and we're plugging them into a process that gets them results, increases LTV, upsells them, resells them, and this all becomes a positive flywheel to help you hit your revenue and profit goals reliably month over month. So all that out of the way, go ahead and book a call with us if you've seen enough and you understand the model. You're going to be meeting with me or Diego ourselves, so we'll see you on the call.